Pound of Flesh by AHGottlieb. My muscles feel cold. Everything feels like static, and the light has me nonplussed. My chest heaves slow, with laboured breaths, seemingly full of pus. I stretch my hands and they feel worn and calloused, as if I had been working a lifetime before I gained consciousness. I blink away tears that the light wells on my cheek. They roll onto the cold metal table beneath me. A soft tap resonates in my head, and I'm now aware that I'm not alone in this room. John? Are you awake, John? I hear a mousy voice barely above a whisper, and feel a soft caress on my shoulders. They ache for some reason. I am unsure what is happening. What's going on? I hear my voice for the first time, soggy and gurgling, listing into a wheeze. I cough violently and sit up quickly, forcing the warm embrace behind me to retreat with a soft gasp. I turn my head slightly to each side, startling myself when my eyes fall upon a short woman with black and tousled hair. Marred by mats and shimmering grease, her dripping grey eyes were magnified behind thick glasses, interrupted by the black strands hanging from her high hairline. She looked at me with an intensity that made me feel intimidated, despite her size. I repeat my question to the mouse-like woman, and she hesitates for a moment, contemplating what she should or should not say to me. I can sense the deep thought she is in. She looks into my eyes longingly and with deep sadness, but also desire. The bright lights above me finally illuminate her face. Her cheekbones rise and fall as she frowns, and then smiles to herself, as if forgetting I am watching her. She has a slender frame, and could not weigh more than 100 pounds. The smiling face, half-starved and wrinkled from malnutrition, returns to look at me in the eyes. You had an accident, John. You're not in your right mind. Just rest. I'm here for you. She climbs up on the metal table and straddles me. I look down and realise I'm naked. There are sutures running along my body, including my groin. She notices when I wince in pain, not realising there is fear in my expression. Her head presses against my collarbone, her skull digging into it slightly. I rest my hand on her head, her hair only slightly falling away at my touch, due to the moisture it contains. I lay my head back onto the table and try and grasp what is happening. The warmth of her skin brightens my face slightly, and I am sure it's only instinctual. She feels wonderful against me, but my mind is still racing and panting from confusion. I take in the rest of the room. The walls are lined with glass cabinets framed with polished metal. They are contained with chemicals, tools, more sutures, and most concerningly, specimen jars. Some of them contain tissues and formaldehyde. Small warning labels and signs adorn areas around the cabinets. There are a counter next to the cabinets, where there rests a large glass bottle. I lean slightly to see the floor, which is made of pale green aluminum. A drain is in the centre of the room, and my eyes twitch. Opposite the wall are a series of square metal doors, each with a label and names, dates, and a letter written on them. J. Doe, 8, 19, 21, F. W. Lee, 7 31 21 M. R. Perry 8 10 21 M. J. Rigby 7 20 21 M. That last name feels familiar. Bone-chillingly familiar. Who is that? All of them were firmly closed, except J. Rigby, which is slightly ajar. Absent-mindedly, I stroked the mousy woman's hair. When I noticed what I was doing, I stopped to sense a heartbeat. I hadn't thought she would climb on top of me to die. I was right. She raised her head to look into my eyes once again. "John?" she asked in that wispy voice again. "Who are you?" I snapped. "Where am I?" John, you don't remember. I'm your wife, Ellen. I've been trying to make you feel better for a month, and you're finally back to me." My what? I looked over at my left hand. There is no noticeable ring-like shadow on my finger. "I'm sorry, but no. I don't remember." She looked ready to burst into a whirlwind of sadness, all within inches from my face. I looked at my arm again in confusion. They were sutures running across the flesh of my upper arm. They were works of surgical art. However, they interrupted a tattoo halfway through the body of a bird. I turned my head to face my other arm, with the same sight greeting me. Something had happened to my arms, my belly, and my groin. What happened to me, Ellen? You had an accident. Remember? Please, John. Please remember. Then came the tears, not just from her, but also from me. I was horribly confused and saddened by the entirety of the interaction. She didn't allow me to cry, however, instead kissing me softly. She kissed me deeply, aggressively, and with apparent lust. Her affinity for staring into my eyes showed itself again. That desire I had seen before had returned, and it frightened me. She told me it had been so long without the feeling of her face against my chest. She told me many things she missed about me. I still couldn't understand what was going on. "Oh, I know. I have some whiskey for you. It was your favourite. Let me get it. Maybe it will help." She poured a glass of whiskey from the bottle on the counter. She brought it to me and let me sip it. The burn of the alcohol helped my throat feel more open. She poured another for me and then drank one herself. A piece of old worn paper on the counter received a droplet as well. Something was scribbled there. I could tell when she picked it up and kissed the droplet. When she turned around, she seemed healthier. Her features were less pronounced and more supple. Her body was not gaunt, but instead was healthy. Her hair was a deep, rich black now. Instinct took over me. The table I had been laying on was now where we would consummate a confusing, unrecognisable reunion. We ended up falling asleep there again, in sweat and fluids. I woke up to a dry laugh. Somewhere in the room, Ellen had not woken up yet. She slept soundly against my chest, a smile crossing her face. I looked around quickly, but not enough to wake her. The fluorescent lights above me shone brighter. An impossibly tall and decrepit old man stood in the corner of the room. An old felt top hat positioned cat-a-corner on his bald head. He pushed his glasses up onto his face to get a better look at me. One of the lenses fell out as he did so. As I watched it fall onto the floor, I noticed the dirty rubber apron he was wearing, as well as the stained surgical mask he wore. The face above the mask was blackened, almost charred skin. The one eye I saw behind the empty lens was a milky grey. When he removed his mask, I screamed and cupped my mouth in horror. Ellen only stirred slightly. bunching her nose and furrowing her brow. Behind that thin fabric was the poorest bone of his jaw and teeth. He laughed again, the way an older brother would laugh when a prank on his younger sibling went well. He smiled, and I could only tell it was a smile as the remaining skin on his head pinched at the corners above his mouth. The smell of tobacco and liquor filled the air in that frighteningly sterile room. Oh, now, there is no need to scream. Can't a doctor take off his mask after a well-performed surgery? He spoke in a thick, Caroli accent that was almost impossible to understand at first. What? I stammered. You don't honestly need me to explain what's going on, do you? Yes, actually. What happened to me? What happened to you? And who is this woman? I gestured to each of us. He rolled his eyes and sighed, his jaw dislocating, which evolved into a yawn. He seemed annoyed that I would ask at all. I was getting severely frustrated. I yelled at the creature to tell me what happened to me. You died. But you've been resurrected. Ellen called me to bring you back. Wesley and Roberto over there gave us the parts we needed to put you back together. Hector Castel de Gata, a gentleman from a gang you were pursuing. And he did not like how close you got to him or his escapades. You messed with quite the wrong crowd, Detective Rigby, and you paid immensely for it. That doesn't make any sense. I don't even remember who I am. I don't even know who you are, or who Ellen is, or what the hell is going on here. Excellent choice of words, John. You see, I can't touch souls that are in heaven. And that is certainly not where you were. You see, when you're brought back from beyond the grave, you're not allowed to have memories of what came before you died, or your memories of hell. That's just how it works. Don't you dare ask me why, though, because quite literally, I don't know. But I can pull you out of hell and put you in this here husk, for enough of a bribe. And this is where young Jane Doe came in, blood of aversion and all that bollocks. That's what got me to show up. Ellen did some less than righteous things to get me to pay attention. What can I say? I kept trying to remember, but the first thing I can think of is the lights blinding me and seeing Ellen at my side. Who are you? Samdi. Baron Samdi, monsieur. Are you a demon? The devil himself? Oh, no. Flattery will get you everywhere, though, John. How do I explain? Yes and no. Though I do wish I had his title, but not the responsibilities with it. Administration of a place like hell is not easy. Anyway, I'm here to collect a debt, and then you're free to go. She paid for one more night with her precious John, and that's what she got. The demon then grabbed Ellen, who now looked more skeletal than when I had first woken up. He slung her over his shoulder, snapped his fingers of his other hand, and disappeared instantly. The smell of tobacco lingered, and the laughing returned, and I was now truly alone.